Welcome to the Real Estate Show on WGBF AM with your host, Charlie Butler. This is where you'll learn to sell your home quickly and for more money. And now, the host of the Real Estate Show, the guy who guarantees to sell your home or he'll buy it himself, Charlie Butler.
Good Sunday morning, Tri-State. This is the Charlie Butler Real Estate Show, and I'm Charlie Butler. We're joined, as always, by my co-host from Waterstone Mortgage, Evie Barr.
Happy Sunday, Charlie.
Good morning, Evie. How are you this morning?
I'm wonderful. It's Sunday, easy day, getting amped up for the week.
And we are going to be joined shortly by, going to have a little fun this morning with the WKDQ morning host, co-host, I guess I should say, Leslie Morgan. And we somehow got Leslie to come to the mic.
We are very lucky.
Yeah, I don't, Bobby had told us she was very mic shy. So, but anyway, so how's everything? How's your business going?
We are really busy for its being February, which winter month. Usually we aren't going as strong as we are, but people are still writing offers, weighing pre-approvals. Quite a few people are still very interested in our government programs for the lower credit scores. So we do offer the VA, FHA, and USD loans for credit scores down to 600, which a lot of lenders require a minimum credit score of 640. So
that's great.
It's an awesome opportunity for people who maybe stumbled with their credit a little bit but are working to get back on track.
And for those that don't know, a 600 credit score is probably, you may have had, some issues, maybe, as we all do in life sometimes.
Yes.
And it could have been medical. It could have been where you just, unfortunately, something came up and you got behind on a few things. But, if it's showing you're trying, you've had a good record lately, though. Yes.
You're rebuilding your credit score. Waterstone Mortgage is sympathetic to things happen in life. I don't ever want to put someone in a bad financial situation by paying them a mortgage loan if they aren't ready for it. But if I have someone like that, we'll discuss it and then go from there, kind of give a timeline as to maybe when they can buy. But if they have that credit score of 600 to higher, we can definitely find a mortgage that works for them.
So and I know there's some people out there listeners, and as I listen to you, and I've known some other mortgage brokers in the past that did this, say, but my interest rate's probably going to be double or more of what everybody else's is going to be. Is it going to be? I think people expect it's going to be higher.
Yes.
But are we talking about Vinny coming to break their legs if they don't pay, or is it that kind of rate or what?
No, not at all. The rates are higher than what they would be for a conventional loan. 20% down. Someone wants with a really high credit score, they're going to have a better interest rate than someone who is paying less money down and has a lower credit score because it's a more high-risk situation. Depending on what the market is doing, I have had some borrowers that their interest rate wound up being at 5%, give or take, here recently. The thing to remember is there's a lot of factors that go into your credit or into your interest rate. So credit score is part of it, your loan amount, what the loan to value is, or how much equity you have in the home, how much you're paying down on the house, what your purchase price is, and then from there, what loan program you're looking at using. A higher risk loan program, so the government programs for credit scores between 600 and 640, they are going to have a slightly higher interest rate, but interest rates are still good. Whenever I started in banking back in the 90s, I know the mortgage rate at that point in time was like 8.25%. So to get an interest rate in the 4s or even at 5% is really still a great interest rate.
I've told this story here before, but in the early 90s, after moving here, first home we bought here, I wasn't a realtor yet, and my realtor called me. He was taking care of everything. He said, "Wow," he said, "you must have good credit." I said, "Why?" He said, "You got 8 1/8."
Wow.
And he just couldn't believe. So that's, people complain now if it goes between 4 and 5. I mean, I can remember refining to 5 something,
Yes.
And basically, I thought, they've just basically given me money almost,
Yes. At the first bank I worked at, I remember seeing a file, and I think the loan had been done in the 80s maybe, and the interest rate was 18%.
Yeah.
And the people still had not refinanced. So there's always a whole lot worse case scenarios than having a 4% or 5% interest rate.
The 80s were great for people that had CDs, but not great for people that actually in your mortgage, and where I really shouldn't get this on the air, but I will. Because it won't. The banks, because of the 80s, there were so many loans that were assumed because there was no way anybody could pay that interest. It was either assumption or contract sales.
Right.
And so because of the contract sales, those of you that have mortgages, they ask you to sign a due on sale clause.
Yes.
Now, and that's how the due on sale clause was born, was because people were selling their homes on contract when they still had mortgages with the bank, which is a no-no.
Yes.
And so the bank wanted to assure you weren't doing that.
Yes. And on the government loans now, we point out to people that normally government loans are assumable loans, which to the person that doesn't understand what that means if my borrower 3 years down the road goes to sell their house, that can be a selling factor if the interest rates have gone up to 7 or 8%, that if the new buyer qualifies for the seller's loan, they can take over their interest rate. So whenever we close a government loan, we really point that out to our borrower, that remember in the future, that can be a selling point if rates jump up to 8 or 10% again.
Well, let's get our guest on here because we're on. We know
she
we're
looks nervous.
A tight time frame.
I don't do math, so I have no idea what you've been talking about, but I'm just sitting here with a smile on my face.
Okay. It's time to wake up now and go to work, okay?
Do you have a calculator? I don't even know how to use a calculator. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
Oh, boy, this was a bright idea I had, wasn't it?
Bobby knew you probably made a big mistake on this.
I wonder why Bobby gave me that look he gave me when I said, we're going to have Leslie on. Bobby said, well, you're paying for this. I guess you do what you want,
Yeah,
but,
he wouldn't have advised it, but yeah.
But anyway, we are joined this morning. We're very happy. Leslie Morgan, the co-morning host of on WKDQ's morning show.
The better half, I like to refer.
The better half.
Right.
And I shouldn't say the long-time morning host.
Well, the longest, I did get a Lifetime Achievement Award recently.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Because I think it's just because I'm the oldest in the cluster. I think they just were like, what award can we give her? Well, Lifetime. Seems like a lifetime.
From someone who does a lot of advertising, when your agency or the reps for the radio stations that sell advertising, they're always sending you the Nielsen's and the rankers, and Leslie and one competitor always rank right there together. As the most, as the host. There's some national. I used to use a national advertising firm, and Leslie and this other competitor, who we won't mention, were the two people they recommended as the most influential morning show hosts.
Wow.
So, but Leslie, that's the bigger point is, for those that listen to country, I looked the numbers before we came on. You guys just dominate the country market.
We do. We definitely do. And I came into that. KDQ has always been, we're a 100,000 watt station, so we do reach a lot of listeners. And as far as country music, we have dominated for quite some time. I think we're ready to celebrate, as far as a country station, like 25 years, I want to say. Wow. Getting ready to celebrate that, I think, next year. So as with you both, radio is a business.
Yes.
And with myself, and we talked about Bobby, we are brands in our own right. And so to stay employed, and to then be able to then get a job if you're not employed, you have to keep a certain line of integrity. I won't, because I sell for someone like you, Charlie, sell your business. I won't sell it if I don't believe in it. And we can't actually sell something we don't actually use. So that's against the law to do. So I have to use it and I have to believe in it. And it's been important to me. And you know, Charlie, because you've been in a meeting with me before.
I was just thinking about that.
With you, because I didn't know you yet. And I was asked to possibly connect my name to Charlie. And
by a national advertising firm.
By a national advertising firm. And I said, I have to meet Charlie. I have to meet anybody that's connected with him that he wants to bring, but we have to have a conversation because I don't know anything about him, and I'm not going to put my name or KDQ with someone that I don't believe in and that I don't feel a good connection to. And so Charlie and I had a great connection immediately. Now, myself and the national advertiser guy did not, but he needed to understand where I was coming from, and especially from a small market that I'm in. It's more important than ever to be able to have that trust from your listener, because if I don't have that, then we have to have that. We have to have that integrity. We have to have that trust, because the listener thinks of us just like we think of them. Like, we are just a big family. When I go out to remotes, when I go to a concert, they approach me because they feel like they know me.
Yes.
We've never met, sure, but they listen every day. And so if I tell them that I believe in a product or a business, then they trust that I mean that. And that's important to me, to make sure that I do like it and I do mean it, because I know it means so much to them. That's their money. It's the money that they're going to spend. It's their livelihood that they're going to invest, even if it's just, using a particular gas station or a bed that they're going to buy. That's their money. And therefore, if they're looking at me to tell them what is the best, then it's very important that I keep that line of trust. And I won't compromise that.
No, and I know that, as you said, from being in a meeting with Leslie, and she glossed over a couple of the points, but that's okay, because she would not compromise her integrity, and I would, because she didn't know me at the time, and the guy with a national firm, he hung up, and so there, me and Leslie in a room, didn't know each other, just staring at each other, and Leslie says, "Tell me about yourself." And that
we didn't need him.
Yeah, and that led to a very long conversation, and we hit it off great. But the trust that Leslie did my commercials for a long time, and I can remember one particular case, and this is where I think Leslie's coming from. Lady calls me up, and it turned out I sold her house. It was about $550,000, a big purchase for her. And she said, "Leslie on KDQ, I was listening to her, come out and list my house." She didn't ask about my marketing plan. She didn't ask what I was going to do. The fact that Leslie had said it, same way with Glenn Beck on News Talk. When Glenn Beck endorsed me, let's say the same thing. Glenn Beck said for us to list our house with you. Well, that's not what Glenn said, but sure. It gets on a local level.
Local level, yeah.
It gets, it's a big responsibility.
They trust that I have asked you these questions ahead of time. I mean, they know me, and they know that even if I'm spending my own money, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to invest it right, or I'm going to spend it on the thing that I have already done my research. So with you, she came to you because she trusted that she knew. They know me. Yeah. Because I built that integrity. They know I've already had this conversation with you. So they're not going to ask your marketing plan or something like that, because they already know that I've asked those questions. And that's important for a radio personality. It's important for any business to build that line of communication and trust so that they will come back. We want them. They can tune in one morning to us and then tune into another station the next day. But if they already know that they can trust what I say to them, a product especially that I have suggested that they buy if they need it, then they will come back. Just like if I'm doing hair and I do a good job and I'm someone that they can respond to, and then they're like, I'm going back to her because she did a good job. She didn't charge me too much. Every business is the same. It's that trust, the integrity, and building that line of communication with the person who is purchasing your product. And by listening to us, they're purchasing our product.
So you now have, not brand new, but a new co-host.
I do. It feels like it's been forever.
And it's been how long now?
We celebrated our year anniversary in September, so we're headed. This is year 2.
So do you feel like your roles changed any on the show with a different co-host?
Yeah. With my previous co-host, John, which you have met him before. Yes. When I came into the show, his character that he is on the air, which is very much John. We're all a character, but yet we're just a reflection of ourselves. So there's a little bit of a mix. You tell jokes and you might elaborate funny stories, but you pretty much are that person because people see you out. It's not like you can be somebody entirely different.
Well, Leslie, I'll interrupt you real quick. I saw Leslie. We were doing the show. I see her in the parking lot, and she's got a wheelbarrow. I'm leaving. And
I did not. I wasn't pushing it though. I was directing.
No,
I think Dave was pushing it.
Dave was pushing it, and I said, Leslie, what are you guys going to do with a wheelbarrow? She said, you got to put the body someplace. And goes on her way.
And Charlie expected that, and he didn't even ask any questions.
See you later.
So it worked out fine. But no, my role with John was very much like, I'll do whatever, because that really is my personality. Fly by the seat of my pants. And John was like, no, we have to plan. And Dave is more like, oh my gosh, that little brother that I can get him to do all kinds of bad stuff.
So you tempt him with things then.
Yes.
And force him into bad situations.
I can instigate him to get into all kinds of trouble. I'm like, if we did this, meaning him, and then, we have all sorts of fun. Because now I'm like the big sister instead of the little sister.
So let me ask you a little more personal question. Okay. And you've had in some ways a tough year.
I have.
No one, and it's because we're friends. I know this. But you lost your mother in the past year. Mm-hmm. How you're this upbeat personality on air. How much tougher does that make it when these things are going on?
What I find is important for what I do is that the audience, the listener, is able to share life with me. So whether I talk about things that happen with my kids, whether I talk about things that have happened to me personally in my past, like I've shared the fact that I suffered from anxiety disorder my whole life, and no one would ever know that by being around me. But it's something that I did struggle with, especially in my 20s. It was really bad. But I know that people can be helped by me sharing those things. And so I knew that people my age really, Andrea Alcott, who was a friend of mine who just lost her battle with cancer. She has 2 young children. One's 14 and I think one's like 5. Everyone is going to lose their parent. So all my listeners, whether they're in their 20s, whether they're more my age, 50, they know they will be able to relate. Even if they think later on when it happens to them that they remember the things that I said, or I cried, I broke down on the air. It's natural, when I was going home, or I knew I was going to have to be with her with hospice. It was like I feel like sharing that with everybody is more genuine, and it leads then again to the integrity of what I'm trying to do, and that is just to help people, whether it's making them laugh in the morning, whether it's telling them there's severe weather on the way, whether it's telling them the latest on Luke Bryan or when Jason Aldean's going to come to Evansville, whatever it is. Me also sharing my life is just a part of that sharing.
As a listener, because I'm kind of a Town Square Media junkie, I've noticed. I bounce around on the stations, but I know I was listening during those times, and it's like what you were talking before. It's a family situation. I remember you reading, I don't know if it was letters or tweets or emails, whatever, but just the family was coming around together around you, which was so amazing and just sympathetic to what you were going through. Oh, yeah. And I thought it was so neat that you were acknowledging those listeners and thanking them for all their words that they had to you, because it really is a family. We feel like we know you after listening to you for so long, and our hearts were breaking for you during that.
Well, and I've gotten a lot of comments and emails and texts and things like that about how much I help them, but they don't. Yes. Listeners don't have any idea how much they really help us.
Yeah,
they really. Going through that, it really helped when someone said, "I've been through that," or "I'm praying for you."
Yes.
My mom's going through cancer treatments right now, and hearing you talk about it, and still trying to be so positive, and even after she passed, and being able to pass along And this is all because of my mom and how she raised us, and that life is a positive experience, and that you do have a choice to make it positive. Even the worst situations that you can think back that happened in your life, good comes of that. And that was Mom's philosophy of living. And so
that's great.
Moving into the future as now a grandmother myself, which happened right after my mom passed. I'm taking on that role of the matriarch and the grandmother, and I know how important that gift is to teach our children and our grandchildren to live life like that. It can seem like the worst possible thing to ever happen to you, and you don't know if you can go on.
Yes.
But everything bad has a good result at the end.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. I started out in radio, okay, right out of college, managed a couple stations. And I had a disc jockey, or we call them disc jockeys back then. We don't, on-air personality today. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He's one of the from the old days, one of the hard living, guys. But anyway, he would be on the air, and I'm going to ask if this ever happens. And him and the engineer would be into it so hard, and there would be the 4-letter word would be flying. He would be mad, and it was like in his head, he knew that song was running out, and as soon as, he'd be like, "Good morning to you," and, he would just be, he would be the on-air personality. I'm assuming that that's not an isolated situation.
Oh, no. And I work with a partner, and life happens to you. I brought my personal life into it at times, but there are times you can't. If I'm having a really bad argument with my husband, which happens, right. Marriage is tough. This is my second time around even. It's still tough. I can't bring that to the air. And if I do, it has to be in a way that is going to be productive and even funny and light at the end. I can't come on the air in the morning when everybody else has their problems, and Bobby can attest to this. When everybody has their problems and they are... they don't want to go to work. They hate their job. They just had an argument with their teenager. They just want to just go away by themselves. I have to be part of what reels them back in and makes them feel like their everyday grind is worth it and have a little fun. And so you have to sometimes, Dave and I mean, there's times when I just want him to shut up, even on the air, but I still play along. And then the mics turn off and, we may not speak. John and I had a lot of moments like that because sometimes I wanted to strangle that man. And then mics come on, boom, it's showtime. If I'm sick in the morning, and I've been sick several times where you come in, you're not feeling good at all. Someone else isn't feeling good too, and they don't want to hear about you're not feeling good.
Exactly.
Turn it on. It's showtime. Let's go.
Same guy who used to do this to me all the time. This is a small station. This is not the size of what you got. So I'd always listen to the competition to see what sponsors we were missing who were on the competition. I'd walk in the station, and we were what was called in the 80s adult contemporary station, which would be pop today. And I would hear Jethro Tull's Aqualung playing, and I would run back there. And of course, he's got it in cue. He's playing what he's supposed to, but he's doing it just to screw with me. And for those out there in queue, it just means it plays in the station. It doesn't go anywhere besides in the station. So I'm sure you guys never do that to people, stuff like that.
Oh, no. Dave's pranking people all the time. And me, too. On Facebook Live. And I'm just going to say, when I get scared, I've got, Tourette's. So curse words come out. I'm like a sailor, and he's done it on Facebook Live. It's awful. He scared Bobby and Stacy just recently. It's a blog on our website. You can see it. I mean, I thought Bobby, I don't think he took good to that. He's going to have to get used to the fact that you're here in the mornings. Anything can happen. Anything can jump out. It's just one of those things. So, we joke around a lot. We're all extreme personalities. If you are in a meeting, oh, my gosh, we would never have cameras or recording anything at a meeting because things are said. We try to outdo each other. We try to make everybody laugh. I mean, we don't get anything done in a meeting. And whoever's leading the meeting is usually like, okay, kids, because we're like little elementary school kids, really. It's crazy. It's fun, though. I love it.
Now, I wanted to ask you, we've been doing something on our show, and since I think you've got a slightly bigger audience than we've got, we were talking about relationships. Well, Evie
gosh.
is not in a relationship right now. And
Really?
we have
Here we
pretty
go
woman
again.
like Evie. We've been trying to find her a man, and we haven't had any success. Well, at least she's not staring if we have. So
I think Charlie has gotten me on this the past 2 Sundays because Valentine's Day is coming up and he's wanting to promote Valentine's Day because he has never mentioned this before, or he just really enjoys embarrassing me on the air. One or the other.
And I know Leslie would never bring something like this up on the air.
No. Now, I may in conversation bring it up to Dave, and he will bring up anything on the air. I can't promise anything. You might have to come in and we'll talk and just see, just throw out the fishing line.
Sure. I always say if it's not a good date, it's a good story.
True.
Because
that's exactly right. And I've got plenty of those. Oh, my gosh.
I think...
Gosh, I'm sorry. We just got 5 minutes left.
If you've ever...
That's another show, Charlie. Match.com. Go ahead.
Yes. I think in the single world, dating is just... amazing is the best way to say it because you never know what's going to come out of that guy's mouth, and it will sometimes just floor you. A quick story. I had one date. It was fabulous until we got to have another iced tea after dinner. And then I was just completely thrown, and that was the end of it.
After dinner. Give me a break.
Yes. So it was kind of like, thank God we had that after dinner iced tea because I wouldn't have realized that a little bit loopy and out of my realm for me. So if it's not a good date, it is a good story. I've been told I need to write a book on them, so they get that good. Okay.
Bobby's single. We got 3 minutes left. Leslie, I know, and I was reading about you recently in Evansville Living. You were honored. But of all, and I know, and I see it a lot, with different honors you won, what are you most proud of the things that of the different awards you won?
It probably has nothing to do with radio.
That's okay.
But I used to, in my former life, I taught high school kids speech and theater. And that was before I got into radio. And working with the kids was it changed my whole life. It changed who I am as far as empathy.
Are those kids still in therapy now after
working with me? Yes. I was their therapist in high school, and now it's downhill. Yeah. But I have a lot of them now doing really great things, and I got an award from the Southwestern Indiana Arts Council for my work with the kids, and that was an honor that I will always cherish. I felt like I was really making a difference. Whether I was teaching them about life, not theater. They didn't know it, but I used those little things to try to teach them how to stand in someone else's shoes and understand that not everyone's like you, and be able to empathize with them, and how to work together as a group, and how to be someone who could speak in public, and just all those things that I felt make you a productive member of society, and they're doing great things right now, and that warms my heart, even if just one of them remembers something that I told them.
Real quick, since you've got an audience here that normally listens to News Talk, if they want to switch to music, you want to do a shameless plug here for your show.
Well, definitely come over and listen to 99.5 WKDQ. You can listen online. We have an app, too, a WKDQ app, which gives you everything digital and everything on the air. And I am on from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday morning. And Sundays, I'm getting ready to overdo another show here in a minute.
Wow.
And so... Leslie Morgan, thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie. It's so good to see you.
It's great to see you. We'll have to do this again because we ran out. Time went way too fast.
We still got to talk about Match.com.
Absolutely. And just look for Abby coming up on a KDQ morning show. But Bobby is singing me. We've got to go. Charlie Butler team, 499-7758, Waterstone Mortgage.
812-463-3199.
We'll see you next week. Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Show on WGBF AM with the guy who guarantees to sell your home or he'll buy it himself, Charlie Butler. Join us every week at this time to find out how to sell your home quickly and for more money. For more information, email cbutler@kw.com or visit charliebutlerteam.com.